Hello.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Truth in Her podcast.
Woo!
Episode number 8.
9.
9.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, episode number 9.
We can't even keep track. That's gonna we're gonna have to continue to make sure we know what we're
Yeah, we're gonna have to write this stuff down.
I think it was like by episode 4 we were like, which one is it?
Yeah. Okay, so episode number 9. Wow, we have come so far.
Really?
Like, I remember when we started and I would think like, okay, episode 10 is like when we're really gonna start kicking the gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then here we are, episode 9.
You know how like you start something, it doesn't even occur to you like, oh, this is a possibility, like that's gonna happen one day. Like oh, you don't think about you're gonna be 50 years old.
Yeah.
You don't think about your 10th
literally what's
episode.
going on right now. Like, we used to, like,
Exactly.
dream of this, and now it's, like, actually happening. But, yeah, so
Literally.
we're on episode 9.
Episode 9, baby.
And today we're going to be talking about, like, older sister syndrome, having younger siblings, and, like, that whole dynamic and...
Responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that is definitely a big one. And me and Maddie are both oldest daughters. Maddie's an oldest daughter. I'm second oldest, but I have...
6 below you.
Yeah, I have 6 below me. I'm one of 9, so I have an older sister, and then it's me, and then I have 6 younger siblings. So,
And then I just have one younger brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a lot younger than you though.
Yeah, 7.5 years.
7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like...
Oh, I thought you meant he's 7 years old. I was like, Ollie is not 7 years old.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was 7 years difference. And he's 13. And... you know, people always say, like, when you're so far away from your siblings, it turns into, like, you know, there's such a difference to the point where you can't relate, you can't be friends, like, in that way. Mm-hmm. And it is more of, like, a teacher rather than a friend, which is true sometimes. I think that's been part of my journey with becoming an older sister, moving through the motion with my younger brother of like growing up with him. Now he's at a place where he has to start taking on responsibility. You know, he's 13 years old, like he's becoming a teenager. And I knew what I did at his age and I didn't want him to avoid those things.
Yeah.
So it's important for me to remember like how I can remain his friend, remain his sister, and not become too much of a teacher and too much of a mom. Like, I really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I get like that too.
Yeah. And there was a very big period of time when our relationship was under a lot of stress only because of the way I was handling it. And the way, you know, like every conversation would be like, well, why would you do that? Like, maybe you should try this instead, or eat this, sleep at this time, you know, don't go on your phone, like all these things that like, but nobody wants to hear that, you know what I mean? Like, and they already hear enough of it from my parents, he does at least. So like, he needs somebody, and I knew he needed somebody that could be like his friend in the house rather than like an ally rather than,
Another person trying to tell you like what to do and how to be raised and stuff.
Exactly. Like that's the last thing he wants. That's the last thing I would have wanted at his age.
And it's going to push him away at a certain point because you know, when you're nagging someone like that constantly, like nobody wants to be around that, especially like, you know, a little boy.
And I watched that start to happen and I was like, oh my gosh, like what's wrong with our relationship? He totally like, it's not the same anymore. Like he couldn't come to me about certain things. We didn't enjoy the same things anymore. We couldn't even be around each other and be like laughing, having fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost like you're trying to like protect them because like a sibling relationship is so interesting in the way of like you love them so much, but also like you have this big sense to like protect them.
Yeah, definitely.
And to keep them safe and to make sure they didn't do the same things that you did and protect them from bad things that happen.
Right.
It's like such a motherly thing, but you really can't because, you know, you have to let them go through life and fail and be sad about things.
Exactly. and it came to a point when I was like, I'd rather him want to come to me about something than me tell him about it. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. Like, I want to be that space for them to open up to me instead of me always jumping to the gun every single time.
Literally.
Before they can even get to me.
Right. And then also 9 times out of 10, it was like the stuff I'm telling him, like, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows. So, like, what's the point of me saying it? You know? Like, I'd rather him be like, Maddie, what would you do that like with this situation? And then offer the advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Instead of just like trying to protect them constantly.
Yeah, exactly. And now after I realized it's much better now.
Yeah.
Like allowing for the exploration and the discovery.
Yeah, and they're also like different people than us too, so we have to like keep in mind like
that's so true.
You know, they're not going to do things the same way I do, and they're not going to think about things the same way I do or the same way I did. And that's hard to think that, you know, they're not going to understand some things or think about some things the way that I would.
Right.
And it can be hard, but like you just have to kind of step back and be like, okay, I want to be somebody that they can come to, not somebody that they feel like they have to run away from.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I'm always like, you have to be like this, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Exactly, exactly. No, that's so true.
But I love having siblings. Like, a sibling relationship is just one like no other. It's not
really
even like
is.
a friend. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like such a special bond where I feel like I can tell my siblings anything. And, like, no matter what, we'll never run away from each other.
Yeah.
Never.
That's amazing.
We'll always be there for each other. And just to have, like, such a big family unit like that and to... have somebody like that is just so special, you know, like, you'll carry that on for the rest of your life. And
like the gang. Just the gang.
The gang. And, like, I feel so blessed all the time. I think about how many siblings I have.
Yeah.
And, like, I have 6 sisters.
Wow.
And
in total, including before you, too. Including Jane.
Including Jane.
Yeah.
I have 6 sisters.
Yeah.
I'm the 7th sister. And I have 2 brothers.
Yeah.
I have 6 sisters. And to me, that's just like, wow, how blessed am I?
Right.
I look at all my 6 sisters and I'm like, I have 6 sisters. That's
amazing.
That's amazing.
That's so cool.
That's like too much abundance of happiness and joy. Like, I'm like, wow, thank you, God.
Yeah, literally.
Such a blessing.
Oh, my God.
And then my 2 brothers are like, I love my brothers so much. I couldn't be more blessed. I love having my siblings around. I love siblings.
It's amazing. Yeah.
You know, I feel sorry for people that don't have siblings.
Right.
Because, wow, what a blessing.
And then, like, you know, I definitely feel blessed when I have 1.
Uh-huh.
But then to have 6.
6.
Like, I'll just be
6
hanging
sisters.
out with him and be like, oh my gosh, like, almost brought to tears. Like, I'm so happy to be here with you. I love you so much.
Yeah.
You're right, it's more than just a friendship.
It's more than just a friendship.
You know? But then to have 6, like, oh my goodness.
6 sisters, 2 brothers.
It's almost overwhelming.
Overwhelming. Overwhelming. It's so many of
Like,
them
I'll
that
die
it's
for
like,
you. I would die for you.
I have to, like, keep this... It's such a deep bond with them. So to know that I have all this time in the years coming up in my life to create these deeper bonds, especially with my younger siblings. They're so young right now. We have such a big age gap. You know, as they grow older, we're going to create more bonds as they're going through high school and, like, you know, adolescence, and to be there for all of them while they go through that.
Right.
That's a big responsibility and also such a big blessing. And I'm so excited to go through that with them and to create these deep bonds with them as they continue to grow older.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, it gives me this sense of, like, that protectiveness and feeling a little bit scared in a way. And it can make me very much like older sister syndrome.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard of that.
We created that term today.
Yeah.
But
And
it's a
I've seen
thing.
it online too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely online. People are like, oh yeah, I have older sister syndrome. Yeah. And it's basically...
It's tiring. It's tiring.
Yeah, you feel like you have to be their protector. You feel like you have to be, like,
responsible.
managing everything.
Yep.
Very responsible kind of woman.
I've seen myself almost turn into a mother when that's not what I am.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a sister.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like taking
Like
on that
controlling a little
responsibility of, like, okay, this is what's going to happen in our day. How do we get it done? How do I make sure everybody gets there on time? Like, feeling the responsibility of everybody when it's not, you know, that's not your job. Your job is to be the ally, be the person to go through something with them rather than make it for them.
Like, you're not responsible for their actions or emotions and stuff, but you can help them with that.
And I think one of the hardest parts is, like, watching them go down a bad path, make a bad decision, and sit idle and be like,
oh my gosh,
it's hard to watch them make a decision that you know is not good, but you have
So
to
hard.
allow for that, because otherwise somebody learns something more when they mess up themselves. They're not gonna learn as much if they're like, I mean, some people do, but most people don't. Most people learn by messing up. Most people learn from experience, and it's really important to let them experience and mess things up.
that's so true.
Yeah, and I think I get offered that because I have such a large age gap with Oliver. Like, I'm able to like we're such at different places in our lives, to the point where like I barely even know what he's going through on some fronts. Like, and I can be more of like that ear, and like he can totally tell me about certain things, rather than someone who's like, I don't know, I guess like facilitating it. I can learn with him and learn like, and then I also think about too, like with what I have taught him over the years, like me at his age, I knew half the things he knows. Like, he's so smart.
That's so
he's
true.
so knowledgeable, so attentive, so observant of all these, like, so he just understands people in ways I had no idea how. And like, I hate to say like, oh, that was my doing to teach him that, but I know in a way, like, I've taught him things.
He had mentors.
Yeah, exactly. And I was able to help him see certain things, and like, I would never want to ruin
Because
that.
you didn't have that.
Right.
You know, you're the oldest sibling.
Like, it took me longer to learn,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, then to watch how smart he's become, even if it wasn't me, like, it like you said, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And maybe we get controlling in that way because we didn't have someone like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we think, oh,
Here's my
I
chance.
didn't have this, so let me try to jump in and, like, save them.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, make sure that they don't mess up like I did.
Right,
And,
we
kind of
watched.
live through them in a way.
Exactly, we watched what went wrong already with ourselves. Let's try to fix it. We don't want that to happen again.
Yeah,
But-
for sure.
But part of the reason why we already learned that is because we went through the bad experience, and we learned from the experience. We learned from the mess up. We learned from the way the events played out. So it's important to let them go through that experience and go through the events of realizing, oh, man,
Definitely.
I got to do something differently.
Definitely.
I think people learn better that way too. I think there's a lot of studies out there that say like people learn better through frustration and experience.
Yeah, you gotta let it get to your heart first.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
You gotta let it
so
convince
right.
your heart, change your heart.
Yeah,
you
you're-
gotta feel something and then be like, I don't want to feel that again. Let me fix this.
Yeah, exactly. And truly see the ins and outs, and like
Yeah.
get the application of what should
See
be
it
done.
for yourself, you know? Like,
Yeah.
You can't just go to somebody and tell them something and expect them to fully understand it.
Right.
They gotta really, like, to truly understand something, you have to go through something and experience it and feel it and then be
Yeah.
like, oh, now I really understand this and now I can
Right.
truly grow from this. Whereas if somebody were to tell me this right off the bat, I wouldn't fully understand it because I haven't lived it yet.
Yeah. I
know?
remember Dr. Colbert said you can't teach empathy.
Yeah, exactly.
Your brain does not understand how your actions affect somebody. Maybe after experience it does, but it's the way we learn it first is through our hearts. We learn how somebody feels because we know we've felt that before. Not because we've just know that that's what it's going to make them feel, but it's because, and it's how Jesus says too, we love because we've been loved by Jesus. You know, so we can bring that with our siblings and say like, okay, I felt gross in that situation. I have to let them feel that grossness and that frustration so that they understand the full implication and get the full lesson out of the experience, rather than, because I could tell them like, oh yeah, like if you do that, you're going to make them feel a certain way. You can understand that, but you can't feel it. You have to understand, like, maybe you do have to mess up. You do have to experience what it's like to make the bad decision.
Yeah. It can be difficult. And then, like, that behavior of being the controlling older sister, kind of like, crazy person. No, not crazy, but
But like, over responsible.
Yeah, over responsible, like over controlling, can filter into other relationships as well. It can filter into your intimate relationship. It can filter into your friendships.
Your own relationship with yourself.
Yeah, your own relationship with yourself. Absolutely. And like, I've seen that with myself. I've seen myself be over controlling in my own life and over like responsible for things and always saying yes to things and making sure everything has a place and my routine has to be perfect.
Right.
And just being overly strict on myself to avoid future problems for myself. And I've seen it in my relationship where I try to nitpick certain things and try to make things perfect and try to control that. And so that attitude can really filter into other things as well.
And it can turn into frustration. It can turn into self-esteem problems. It can turn into all different sorts of things.
And that's why people have this stigma of like oldest daughters and older siblings.
That's exactly where it comes from.
Yeah, because they get like that. They get super responsible, super controlling, and very particular about things.
Right. And I think maybe
it's a trend for sure.
Oh, 100%. It's so weird how that works. Like how that works.
So funny, right?
Like so many people feel that.
And I think it's also because like when you're the oldest sibling, think about it. Like you were raised, you kind of have that natural born responsibility in you because you have to raise on your own terms.
Definitely.
You have to step up and be like,
yes,
I'm the first one. You know what I mean?
Right. There's an aspect of like making the connection on your own. Like, you have to make that connection on your own. There's, like...
Like, no one's there to guide you.
Yeah, really. Exactly. And, like, yeah, you have your parents, but to a certain extent.
Yeah.
One day, you have to make the decision to say, I'm going to do better, I'm going to do this differently, or I'm going to clean up at this time, or you're going to have to make that decision. There's no one else there to show you that. And even you get pressure from your parents to say, you got to do this.
Yep.
So the only way to do it is actually make the decision, I'm going to do it on my own.
Absolutely.
So then it becomes like it, and then you learn that is like, okay, that offered me the stability, it offered me the structure, but to a certain point it doesn't offer structure anymore. What used to work doesn't work anymore, especially with when it comes to helping other people. You have to like let go in a way and understand like, okay, how the situation is going to be the way it's meant to be, and maybe I should let God take the wheel a little bit. And
definitely.
Like, yeah.
And then, like, also, with not having anybody being a firstborn, you're also trying to live up to the expectations of your parents.
Yes.
Because you get so much love from your parents when you're born, and you're right under them. And so, trying to live up to their expectations and to get the attention that you used to have when you were a baby. And,
I've totally felt that before, and, like, almost trying to, like, as an older sibling, I don't want to let my parents down at all. Like, that's, like, something, like, I want to make my parents happy and proud. And maybe I've made the like, wrong connection saying, okay, if I help Oliver, I'm then making my parents proud. If I'm a certain kind of older sibling in this way, if I'm super responsible, ultra responsible, I'm going to make them proud. I'm going to, like, show them that I got it going on and I understand what I'm doing. When actually, I think if you let go a little bit and you kind of take a step back with the mentoring and the teaching, it might even show them more, like, that you understand how to help your younger sibling. It'll help.
Yeah,
it'll
you can
show.
still help them and not
and your parents
have to be controlling.
Yeah, exactly. And your parents don't expect that of you. Your parents don't expect you to be somebody else, your sibling's parent, because they do it already. They want to see you be a friend to your sibling. They want to see you be this person that can have fun with them and laugh, because that's the kind of relationship they have with their parents. They already get that from them. They don't want to... I
agree with you.
Your parents want to see you guys getting along in like a friendship kind of way.
Absolutely. And, it can be hard because, especially being an older sister, we already have this, like, mothering tendency in us.
Yeah.
And so when you're taught to be a mother at such a young age, with your younger siblings, that's where that protective weakness comes out
Totally.
of, and that, like, mama bear in a way.
Yeah,
You get that young.
100%.
And you're not the mom. So then it can come out in a very aggressive, like, controlling way because
Right.
you don't have the control and you're young.
Exactly.
It's not your kid.
Yeah. Right.
So
and
it
then,
can definitely be difficult, but you gotta be like, I'm not the mom.
Yeah, and then learn how to grow, too, from the relationship that you have with your siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's things that they know, even if they're so young, there's things that they know and experiences they had that you didn't. So it's important to stay humble in that way and be like, okay, you know, it's more of like equals rather than
a hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you definitely have certain things to offer as an older sibling too that are good.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, like the mentor in a way. And they are lucky enough to have us as a guide in a way, you know.
Right. And I also know too when I've super ultra controlled stuff, super responsibility, super like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, it destructs the amplification of my words. It destructs what it means to them. If I'm always telling them you should do this, you should do that, it's not gonna, like, my words don't have as much power anymore.
It doesn't hold as much meaning.
Yeah, the mentorship is not even like it's like you said,
not
it's
as
nagging.
valuable.
Exactly.
Because you're overusing it.
Exactly.
You're overusing it.
It's better to lead by example and be who you're gonna be in your everyday routine and how you treat others and how you how you show up. It's better to lead by example, and then because they see that, they 100% see that, and they'll feel more. They want to be close to you. Then they want to understand. They'll ask you questions. They want to understand. Oh, how did you go about that? Like, I'm so surprised that you did it that way. What did you do? What do you think about this? And then that's when they'll come to you. So it's better to lead by example,
and like how you react to things and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you don't want them to pick that up from your, like, over controlling, over responsible.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll learn, okay, this is someone I can't go to about this certain thing because I already know what they think about it. I already know that they're going to
react.
Yeah,
they're going to get mad at me. And they're going to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person.
Right. I'd rather be someone that can
bite my tongue a little bit.
In that place of controlling, you know, your own joy of having a sibling gets taken away. Your own joy of, having that connection, that certain unique connection gets taken away. It's not, the joys and the laughs and the free time of just hanging out. It's not there anymore.
Of having somebody that close to you to go to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You already have that with your parents too.
That safety.
Right. Exactly. It like that unique friendship that you get with them doesn't, the control can be, it can diminish that. It can diminish the relationship that is so fun, that is so laughing, that is so it's
humorous.
So joyful. So joyful. You know what I mean.
Yeah, so if you have younger siblings,
or becoming an older sibling.
If you're an older sibling or if you have younger siblings, we get it. We understand you.
I remember when my brother was born too, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, all of a sudden my whole entire life changed. I was like,
wow. I could imagine.
Yeah, like I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm gonna be an older sister. I'm gonna do so good. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tell him all these things. I'm gonna show him everything that's ever happened to me before he was born. Like, I'm gonna show him my house. I'm gonna show him my parents. I'm gonna show him math. I'm gonna show him what I love about the world.
Wow,
you know, And I'm gonna show him too.
That's
like,
so cool.
Yeah, but I also want to make sure that, like, I'm offering him, like, being the good example of what the world is, being the good example of, like, what the beauty is, what a relationship can be, showing him the goodness, and like, showing him the bad to show him what not to do and show him like how to protect him in a way.
Definitely.
But not be that, be the good.
I definitely feel that. And it can be a little hard because sometimes I feel guilty if I do something wrong or if I'm not a good example, which I'm not a good example plenty of times. You know, we all are not perfect people.
Yeah.
And, I feel that burden of like, wow, everything I'm doing is is a reflection of who I am, and they're taking notes.
Right.
You know, they're learning from me, and I'm a huge example to them, especially at such a young age. So it can be a little difficult being like, wow, I'm a big example to these people, and I don't want to let them down.
Literally.
But I also want to show them, you know, I'm a human too, and
right.
you know, it just takes a lot of communication.
Yeah.
And
exactly, the camaraderie.
And learning on their part too.
Yeah.
So
right, you learn together. You learn.
It's a big responsibility.
You learn as siblings. You learn as you don't learn as a parent and a child. You learn as
sibling to sibling.
Yeah,
and it's unique. It's different.
It really is different. So don't let your control try. You know, it can inflict your control can inflict upon the relationship. So try to sit back, be silent in certain times, and just watch, just listen, just feel the joy. Yeah.
Feel the joy. Yep. Enjoy it while it lasts, and
yeah, exactly that.
And be a good sibling to one another.
Something my mom always says too is like, the two of you are going to be the people you have for the rest of your life. Like the rocks in the rest of your life. Both our mom and our dad are going to die. Our grandparents are going to die. Like even just friends, like they're not blood. Like so your siblings are blood and they're forever. So foster those relationships.
Everything. They're everything.
Yeah. They're literally everything. Like those are the number ones in your life. Those are the people you can never, and I have divorced parents too. We switch between houses, so things can get like, there can be difference in opinion, conflict sometimes. So me and Oliver have learned, like, if we're not on the same page, then it can perpetuate the way my parents talk to each other, and it really perpetuates our own relationship too. If we're not on the same page and ready to have the same stance on a situation inside the divorce, it really, like, it affects the situation completely. Like, me and Oliver have learned, like, we need to be each other's allies and our strongholds, our shields, because otherwise, like, who will be? You know, then it's every man for himself, and we don't want that at all.
No.
Like,
not at all.
And I think too, when you have that bond, like that unique friendship bond with your sibling, it then teaches your parents something too. It teaches your parents, like, oh wow, like, these are amazing kids. I don't have to be such a parent sometimes.
Yeah.
I can be that friendship.
Each other.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they have each other.
You're so right.
It really is special.
It's so
I don't know what
special.
I would do without my siblings.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be the same person I
don't
am
know
today.
I don't know who I would be.
No, I would have a lot more struggle. I know that. I would have a lot more struggle.
I love going home at the end of the day, and like
it's just
sometimes it's frustrating because like I don't get the things done that I need to get done, and I'll just end up hanging out with my sisters all day at my house, and it's just like literally a hangout every day.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get away from them because I'm constantly in their room.
It's so hard to say no. I have to go do this.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like, sorry, I have things to do
and
today.
And they're like,
doing
no,
nothing all day.
hang out with me. Literally.
And I'm like, okay, give me a few hours, and I'll come over and hang out with you.
I experienced that too.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's so hard, and you just want to do everything with them, and I just never want to be alone. I'm just like, come hang out with me while I clean my room. Come do this with me. Like,
yeah,
it's the best. I love it. It's a blessing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a special thing. So definitely cherish it, and
yeah, don't let go of that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to end off our episode for today.
Thanks for watching.
So thanks so much for listening. Let us know if you took something from that. And
yeah, if you have any advice too.
Yep. Absolutely. Connect with us. We're very active on our Instagram page. So yeah, talk to us there, and I guess we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.